sophomore at the University of Connecticut, pursuing a degree in physics with minors in astrophysics and linguistics. Her work bridges science and human understanding, exploring how we interpret meaning, motivation, and knowledge itself. Beyond academics, she's also a competitive figure skater, bringing both discipline and artistry into everything she does. Today, she will share a powerful perspective on how even in the moments that feel completely still, life continues moving, and how we can find momentum in smallest bring us forward. Please welcome Gearin. One second.
The Earth is orbiting around the Sun at about 67,000 miles per hour. Our solar system is spinning through the center of our galaxy at about 500,000 miles per hour. Now, on top of that, our galaxy is moving through so many of the other galaxies in the universe. And if you ask me, that makes one hell of a speeding ticket. But without looking up at the sky, you would never be able to tell. The Earth has so much force, so much gravity holding you to its surface, that you could be moving through space at an astronomical speed and be sitting here, feeling entirely still. This always brought me a sense of comfort, the idea that the Earth keeps moving, even when I can't really feel it. I took that for granted, until the day that I felt like it completely stopped. March 11th, 2020, is a date that's burned into almost everybody's memory as the day that COVID was officially declared a pandemic. However, I didn't read that news until a few days later. That Wednesday morning, my mom and I sat in the chairs in my cardiologist's office as he told me that something was wrong with my heart. But before we get to that, I think you should know a little bit more about me. I was 4 years old when I started figure skating. By the time I was 7, I was up at 5 in the morning, skating before school most days of the week. As I got older, I began competing. It was a habit for me to be at the rink hours a day, pushing myself to the absolute limit. From the first moment that I stepped on the ice, I knew that I found something special. I always considered myself incredibly lucky to have found one of my truest passions at such a young age. I was 14 when I was diagnosed with an anomalous aortic origin of the coronary arteries, AAOCA. In your heart, you have two main blood vessels, your coronary arteries, that provide blood to the muscle. Your left and your right coronary arteries ensure that their respective sides of the heart have enough nourishment to pump blood and oxygen through the rest of their body. My left coronary artery branches off from the aorta on the wrong side. It then weaves its way through my heart to get to where it should be. What this means is that if my heart beats too hard or too fast, it could cut off the blood flow. Most people with AAOCA go their entire lives asymptomatic and undiagnosed. Unfortunately for many others, the first symptom is sudden cardiac arrest. AAOCA is the second leading cause of sudden cardiac death in young athletes today. Being told that I wouldn't be able to continue skating at the level that I'd grown so used to made this all the more difficult to stomach. It's ironic that the very thing that gave me life, gave me breath, could be the thing that one day took it. Today is 6 years and 2 weeks after my diagnosis. And on one hand, that feels so crazy to say because I'm so far removed from who that girl is, but I also see her every time I look in the mirror. After 6 years, and lots of testing, lots of hospital visits, lots of recovery, I learned how to work with my defect and not against it. I learned how to take care of my heart. Everybody has monsters. Most of you, I expect, have experienced profound hardship and loss. Maybe you still have it ahead of you. Maybe you look at the 20-year-old standing in front of you and think, what do you have to teach me about life? Well, let me tell you, I know what it feels like to have your world turn completely upside down in a second. I know what it feels like to have time feel like it completely stops. But by experience and by failure, I learned how to survive it. So when something happens, when your world changes, when you can't move more than an inch in any direction, three things. This is how you continue to move. 1, everything that lasts knows how to breathe. Hold your breath and feel your heart beating. Go outside, sit in the grass, listen to how the wind brushes through the trees and then stills. That's stillness. Feel it. The breeze will come back. Spend a night in the grass staring at the stars and acknowledge that the earth continues to spin. It isn't until you spend a night watching the stars move across the sky that you know that there is still motion in this stillness. The sun will rise. Go to bed. Wake up. Go to bed. Spend a night tossing and turning. And watch the sunrise the next morning. 2. Run away. I mean it. Make a plan. What would you do if you had no obligations? Where would you go? Who would you be? Write it down. Put it in your wallet or in the back of your phone or stick it on your mirror. Use this plan to remind yourself. I know that you can make it until tomorrow, but if you ever feel like you can't, then run away. In the aftermath of something devastating, every day can feel impossibly heavy. But you have made it here because you have endured that. You have endured that because there is something about this life that you won't leave behind. Maybe it's what makes it all sufferable. My plan was France, or Switzerland, or somewhere with a lot of sun and plenty of flowers. I would open up a bakery, and I don't know how to bake, but I would learn. I would bake pies, and I would set them on my windowsill to cool. I'd have a golden retriever, and I'd slip him a blueberry every so often. I would sit on my porch, and I would paint the sunsets, and I would write poetry. Before my doctors lifted my activity restrictions, I held on to this plan. It reminded me that I still had things to learn, that there was an identity outside of this for myself. Your plan is a reminder that you have something to fall back on, that you are not trapped. Your life is not written in stone, and you owe it to yourself to live fully. So run away. 3. You can do anything for 10 seconds. The most painful thing I've ever been able to endure, I could handle it for about 10 seconds. Now, I'm fairly certain I could do almost anything for 45 seconds. And 45 seconds, who are we kidding ourselves? That's nearly a minute. And at this point, why not go for 2? If your world is crashing down around you, you can handle it for 2 minutes. Just take 2 minutes to breathe and be in the moment. The most important thing is being where you are, and then you can move forward from here. You can survive for 2 minutes. Take that first step forward. 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, eventually you'll find that you start moving. Take that first step. And if your legs give out and you can't do anymore, that's okay. But if you make that 1 step, take another one, and then another one. Progress builds. I bet that you find that you'll start moving. Progress crawls and then learns how to walk. It took me a while to get back to the ice. It was a slow and uneasy process. My heart had been strong my whole life, but it began with a lot of fear from myself and the people around me. I tried goal setting, but being realistic is difficult when the future feels so uncertain. I wanted to be strong again, and honestly, I missed the feeling of being a little bit reckless. I didn't know where my health was going to be a year out from now, so I took it a day at a time. 1 day, 1 minute, 1 step. I put all of my energy into 1 hour on the ice, and then I moved on. The only thing that mattered was being where I was. Tomorrow was tomorrow's issue, and next week, well, I would get to that later. But this, I could do. Eventually, I made it a week, and then a month. The fear feels different now. I can cope with it without being terrified. But after these years, I'm not really sure if I ever moved on. I always felt as if moving on implied leaving something behind, and I always thought that I learned too much from this to leave anything behind. But I did move forward. Progress does not mean solving the issue. In the context of grief, it does not mean moving on. Illness, it doesn't mean being cured or being better. It simply means that you're going to work through it. Progress. It's a process. Most of the time it's failure, but it's also reiteration. It means falling backwards a bit, but not faulting yourself for that. It means deciding to be where your feet are in that moment. It means taking that first step. It means knowing that you have a fallback plan. It means acknowledging that the earth will continue to spin even if you sit there in your seat feeling like you can't breathe, like you're suffocating. In those weeks after I got my diagnosis, I thought my world was ending. You see, I remember this. That one week after I got my diagnosis, I was sitting in the surgeon's office with my parents. And it was wild because we were talking about this procedure that had been done only a couple of times before. And it was so silly because we were talking about open heart surgery. And all I could focus on was this surgeon who kept dropping his damn pen. So I went home that night and I tried to sleep. But all I could think about was echoes of that clicking pen. But the sun rose, and the next day, I woke up and I felt like I couldn't move. But I stared at my wall until the sun set. And I'd made it until tomorrow. And I did that again. And I kept walking, and it felt like I was dragging myself through the mud. But I made it a week. I made it a month. Do you remember how fast I told you that the earth was spinning? Hundreds of thousands of miles per hour. And yet, you're entirely stationary. There is an innate motion in your stillness that means you're progressing. That means you're taking that step. Sometimes it doesn't feel like anything. Sometimes you're going to feel like you're moving backwards. But acknowledge this. Take comfort in this. You have to survive. Let me leave you with this. You will experience hardship. You will continue to forge paths without knowing if they will become overgrown. You will turn around and you might struggle to see where you came from. But you did it anyway. Remember the strength it took to get here. You might be afraid of the strength it will take to keep going. Do it anyway. Remember this. 3. Take one more step. 2. Just run away. 1. The earth will spin. Tomorrow will come. Hold on until then. Thank you.